courtroom went dead silent as my father's face turned white when he saw me walk through those doors. Not as the scared kid he'd ignored for 18 years, but as the star witness whose testimony was about to expose his entire double life. His expensive lawyer's pen dropped from his shaking hands as I placed a manila folder containing screenshots, bank statements, and recorded conversations on the prosecutor's table. The same man who'd convinced our entire family he was a devoted husband was now watching his carefully constructed lies crumble as his son revealed the truth about the house, the mistress, and the $400,000 he'd stolen from Mom's inheritance. My name is Brandon Reeves. I just turned 19, and I thought becoming an adult meant finally getting to make my own decisions without asking permission. Instead, it meant discovering that the man I'd called Dad for 18 years had been systematically destroying our family's financial future, while Mom worked double shifts as a nurse to keep us afloat. If you've ever discovered that someone you trusted completely was living a double life, hit that subscribe button and let me know where you're watching from. Because what I am about to tell you changed everything I thought I knew about family, loyalty, and the power of a single Samsung Galaxy hidden in a toolbox. Growing up in our suburban Denver home, I always wondered why Dad insisted on handling all the finances despite Mom being the one with the steady income. He ran a small contracting business that seemed to have more slow months than busy ones, but somehow we maintained our 4-bedroom house in Highlands Ranch, and he drove a newer F-150, while Mom kept her a 10-year-old Honda running with duct tape and prayers. She'd come home exhausted from 12-hour shifts at Denver General, and he'd be in his home office with the door locked, working on estimates that never seemed to turn into actual jobs. The first real red flag came during my senior year of high school when I overheard Mom asking about refinancing the house to help with my college tuition. Dad shut that conversation down immediately, claiming the interest rates were terrible and that he had other options he was exploring. Mom trusted him completely. After 23 years of marriage, why wouldn't she? But I noticed how he changed the subject whenever she brought up anything financial, how he intercepted the mail every day before she got home, how he had passwords on everything including his phone that he guarded like nuclear launch codes. My girlfriend Ashley noticed things I'd become blind to over the years. "Why does your dad have 2 trucks?" she asked one day when we were studying in my room. I told her one was for work, but she pointed out that the work truck was always clean, no tools in the back, no wear and tear from actual construction work. "And why does he leave for job sites at weird hours? Like, who needs electrical work done at 9 p.m. on a Tuesday?" I defended him at first, making excuses I'd heard him make 1,000 times, but her questions planted seeds of doubt that started growing into something I couldn't ignore. The discovery that changed everything happened completely by accident on a Thursday afternoon in March. I was home sick from school, sprawled on the couch watching Netflix, when Dad came home unexpectedly around 2 p.m. He seemed flustered, didn't even notice me as he rushed to his office. Through the cracked door, I heard him on the phone, his voice tense and urgent. "I told you not to call this number." "Yes, I have the papers." "No, she doesn't know anything. The house will be listed next week. I already talked to the realtor. Just keep your mouth shut and let me handle my wife." My blood ran cold. List the house? Handle Mom? I waited until he left again. Another mysterious emergency at a job site, then did something I'd never done before. I went into his office. His desk was locked, but I knew he kept a spare key in the fake rock by his bookshelf because I'd seen him retrieve it once when he thought I was asleep. Inside the drawer, I found folders labeled with codes I didn't understand, business cards for realtors Mom had never mentioned, and most damning of all, a printed email chain discussing the sale of our house with someone named Veronica. The emails revealed everything in corporate speak and real estate jargon, but the message was clear. Dad was planning to sell our house using some kind of power of attorney. He'd tricked Mom into signing, claiming it was for his business insurance. The closing was set for 3 weeks away, and the buyer was offering $480,000 cash, well below market value for our area, but perfect for someone who needed a quick, quiet sale. The commission was being split between Dad and this Veronica person, who the emails revealed was more than just a real estate agent. I took photos of everything with my phone, my hands shaking so badly I had to retake half of them. Then I found something else. A credit card statement in Mom's name that she definitely didn't know about, showing charges for hotels, jewelry stores, and restaurants in Boulder, where Dad claimed to have been working on a major commercial project. The balance was over $30,000. There were more cards, more statements, all in Mom's name, all showing a lifestyle we definitely weren't living. That night at dinner, I watched my parents interact with new eyes. Mom talked about her day, her patience, her exhaustion from picking up extra shifts to help with college costs. Dad nodded along, occasionally reaching over to squeeze her hand, playing the role of supportive husband while knowing he was weeks away from leaving her homeless and hundreds of thousands in debt. When Mom mentioned she was thinking about taking a vacation for their anniversary next month, Dad said they should wait until summer when things were less hectic. There wouldn't be a summer in this house if his plan worked. I couldn't sleep that night, wrestling with what to do. Confronting Dad directly seemed dangerous. If he was capable of this level of deception, what else might he do to protect his secret? Going to Mom would destroy her, but not telling her would destroy her even more when she found out the hard way. I needed more evidence, something concrete that couldn't be explained away or denied. The next day I skipped school and followed Dad. I know that sounds crazy, but I had to know where he was really going. He drove not to any construction site, but to a coffee shop in Boulder where he met a woman who was definitely not discussing contractor work. They were intimate in a way that made my stomach turn. 18 years of family values lectures flashing through my mind as I watched him kiss her in a broad daylight. I took photos from my car, feeling like a private investigator in my own family drama. But the real breakthrough came when I remembered something Ashley had said about finding hidden phones. Check the garage, the attic, anywhere he spends time alone. I searched his truck first. Nothing. His office was too risky during the day, but his toolbox in the garage, the one he'd had since before I was born, the one with the rusty lock he never changed, that's where I found it. A Samsung Galaxy, fully charged, hidden under a false bottom beneath screwdrivers and wrenches. The phone wasn't even password protected. Arrogance or stupidity, I couldn't tell. But the contents made everything else look like child's play. 2 years of texts with Veronica, who wasn't just a realtor or a mistress, but apparently his fiancée. They had been planning this for 2 years. 2 years of I love yous and can't wait until we're together for real. And once I get the house money, we can start fresh in California. There were photos of them together, screenshots of houses they were looking at in San Diego, discussions about her daughter who would be so excited to finally have a dad. The messages about Mom were the worst part. They talked about her like she was an obstacle, a problem to be solved. The sleeping pills are working, one message read. She's out cold by 9 every night, never notices when I leave. Another discussed how to handle the divorce. Make her think it's her fault that she pushed me away with all her working. She's too proud to ask for alimony if she thinks she caused it. They laughed. Actually used crying, laughing emojis about Mom's trusting nature, how she never questioned anything as long as Dad seemed loving enough. There were also messages with someone named Derek, apparently a lawyer friend who was helping with the paperwork. Power of attorney is ironclad, Derek had written. As long as she doesn't contest it before the sale goes through, you're golden. After that, possession is 9/10 of the law, and good luck getting a judge to reverse a closed real estate transaction. They discussed timing, waiting until after I turned 18 so there wouldn't be custody issues, making sure Mom was scheduled for a particularly brutal shift rotation during the closing week so she'd be too exhausted to notice anything unusual. I sat in that garage for 3 hours reading everything, screenshotting everything, emailing everything to myself into a new cloud account I created just for this purpose. The phone also revealed Dad's real financial situation. He had been squirreling away money for years in accounts Mom didn't know about. The contracting business that always seemed to be struggling, it was actually doing well. He just kept 2 sets of books. The slow months he complained about, he was working cash jobs and hiding the income. By my count, he had at least $200,000 saved up, not counting what he'd get from selling our house. That evening, I made a decision that would change everything. I couldn't let him do this to Mom, but I also couldn't just confront him and hope for the best. I needed allies, legal help, and a plan. I started with Ashley's dad, who was a police detective. I showed him what I'd found, and his face went from skeptical to concerned to absolutely furious. This is fraud, identity theft, conspiracy to commit fraud, and about 6 other felonies, he said. Your mom needs a lawyer yesterday. He put me in touch with a attorney named Sarah Chen who specialized in financial fraud and divorce cases. Sarah looked at my evidence and immediately went into battle mode. We need to freeze everything now, she said. The house sale, the credit cards, the bank accounts, everything. But we need your mom's cooperation, and that means you have to tell her. Telling Mom was the hardest thing I've ever done. I waited until Dad was at his supposed job site, then sat her down in the living room with Sarah as present for legal support. I watched her face crumble as I showed her the evidence, watched 23 years of marriage dissolve in the space of 20 minutes. She didn't cry at first. She just sat there staring at the credit card statements, the photos, the messages, like if she looked at them long enough, they might change into something else. "I need to call him," she said finally, reaching for her phone. Sarah stopped her. "No, we do this legally. We do this right. He doesn't get a warning." The next few days were a whirlwind of legal preparation. Sarah filed emergency injunctions to freeze the house sale and all bank accounts. Mom's name was removed from the fraudulent credit cards. A forensic accountant was hired to trace Dad's hidden assets. All of this happened while Dad remained blissfully unaware, still texting Veronica about their future, still playing the role of devoted husband at home. The confrontation came on a Friday afternoon. Dad came home to find Mom, Sarah, Ashley's dad, Detective Rivera, and me sitting in the living room. The cocky smile he walked in with disappeared instantly when he saw the papers spread out on the coffee table. His secret phone, which I'd returned to the toolbox, but Sarah had legally retrieved with a warrant, printed screenshots, bank statements, everything. "Brandon found your phone," Mom said quietly. It was the only thing she said to him directly. Dad's eyes darted to me, and for a second I saw pure rage before his survival instinct kicked in. "I don't know what you think you found, but—" "Stop," Sarah interrupted. "Mr. Reeves, I'm Sarah Chen, your wife's attorney. You're being served with divorce papers and a restraining order. You're also under investigation for identity theft, fraud, and conspiracy to commit fraud. Detective Rivera is here to ensure you leave the premises peacefully. You have 10 minutes to pack essential items." The transformation was instantaneous. The loving father, the devoted husband, the hard-working contractor, all of it fell away like a mask, revealing someone I'd never seen before. "You ungrateful little bastard," he snarled at me. "After everything I've done for you, this is how you repay me? By destroying our family?" "You destroyed our family," I shot back, finding strength I didn't know I had. "Every day for 2 years you've been destroying us. I just stopped letting you." He tried to argue, to explain, to manipulate, cycling through denial, anger, bargaining, and false remorse in the span of minutes. But Sarah had prepared us for this. We didn't engage, didn't argue, just repeated that he needed to pack and leave. When he realized we weren't budging, he turned nasty, making threats about how he'd destroy Mom in court, how no one would believe a hysterical woman and her brainwashed son over him. That's when I played my ace. "Dad, remember that conversation you had with Derek about the sleeping pills? About making Mom think the divorce was her fault? I have the recordings." "I didn't, actually. Screenshots aren't recordings." But he didn't know that. The color drained from his face as he realized the full extent of what I'd found. He left with a single suitcase, Detective Rivera escorting him to ensure he didn't take anything that wasn't his. As his truck pulled away, Mom finally broke down, sobbing in my arms like I'd never seen before. "How did I not see it?" she kept asking. "How did I not know?" The legal proceedings took months. Dad tried every trick in the book, claiming the messages were taken out of context, that Veronica was just a friend, that the house sale was a legitimate investment opportunity he was exploring for the family's benefit. But Sarah was relentless, and the evidence was overwhelming. The forensic accountant found not just the $200,000 I'd estimated, but closer to $400,000 hidden in various accounts, including money from Mom's father's estate that Dad had intercepted and hidden. Veronica disappeared once the legal troubles started, apparently deciding that a man who would betray his wife of 23 years might not be the best partner for her either. The last I heard from Dad's phone records, which became part of the legal proceedings, she had moved back to Texas and blocked him on everything. Derek, the lawyer friend, got disbarred for his role in the conspiracy. Dad's contracting business collapsed once word got out in the community about what he'd done. The divorce was finalized 6 months later. Mom got the house free and clear, plus the significant portions of the hidden assets Dad had accumulated. The fraudulent credit cards were cleared from her record. Dad got supervised visits with my younger sister, who was 16 at the time, until she turned to 18 and could decide for herself. She chose to cut contact completely after learning the full truth, but the real courtroom drama came with the criminal charges. The district attorney, after reviewing everything, decided to prosecute Dad for identity theft, fraud, and conspiracy charges. That's where we started this story, with me walking into that courtroom not as Brandon the scared kid, but as Brandon the star witness. My testimony lasted 3 hours. I walked the jury through everything, the discovery, the evidence, the planning that had gone into the destroying our family's financial security. Dad's lawyer tried to paint me as a vindictive son and angry about college funding, but it's hard to argue with screenshots, bank records, and a secret phone full of incriminating messages. When the prosecutor asked me why I'd turned in my own father, I looked directly at Dad and said, "Because my mother deserved better than a man who drugged her to sleep while he planned to steal her home." The jury deliberated for less than 2 hours. Guilty on all counts. The sentence was 5 years in federal prison, plus restitution and in fines that essentially wiped out what remained of his hidden assets. As they led him away in handcuffs, Dad looked at me one last time. I expected hatred, but instead I saw something worse. Indifference. Like I was a stranger who'd inconvenienced him, not the son he'd raised for 18 years. Mom and I rebuilt our lives slowly. She got therapy to deal with the betrayal and trauma. She's dating again now, carefully, with a man who owns a restaurant and treats her like she hung the moon. She cut back to regular shifts at the hospital, no longer needing to work herself to death to cover for Dad's supposed business losses. The house feels different now, lighter, like a weight we didn't know we were carrying has been lifted. My sister Emma struggled more than any of us. She'd been Daddy's girl, and learning that her hero was actually the villain broke something in her. But she's tough. Tougher than any of us gave her credit for. She's in college now, studying law, so she wants to be like Sarah and help women who've been betrayed by the people they'd trust most. She hasn't spoken to Dad since the trial, despite his letters from prison. As for me, I'm in my second year of college, studying criminal justice with a focus on financial crimes. Ashley and I are still together. She says watching me stand up for my mom was when she knew I was the one. We joke sometimes that our kids will have the world's most interesting how your parents met story, but there's truth under the humor. Going through something like this either breaks you or shows you exactly who you are and who you want to be. I still have the screenshots saved in that cloud account. Sometimes I look at them not out of anger anymore, but as a reminder. A reminder that trust should be earned, not blindly given. That love isn't just words, but actions, especially the small, unseen actions when no one's watching. That family isn't about blood, but about loyalty, protection, and putting each other's well-being above your own selfish desires. People ask me if I regret turning in my father, if I wish I'd handled it differently, maybe confronted him privately and given him a chance to make things right. The answer is always no. He had 2 years of chances to make things right. 2 years of watching Mom work herself into exhaustion while he planned to abandon her with nothing. Every kiss he gave her while texting Veronica, every "I love you" he said and while hiding money, every family dinner where he played the devoted husband and father. Those were his chances, and he chose deception every single time. The truth is, I didn't destroy my family. I saved what was left of it. I saved my mother from financial ruin and emotional devastation. I saved my sister from growing up thinking that kind of betrayal was normal or acceptable. I saved myself from becoming the kind of man who could watch injustice happen and do nothing about it. Dad gets out of prison in 3 more years, assuming good behavior. He'll be 55, still young enough to start over somewhere else. Mom will be thriving in her new life by then, probably remarried, definitely at peace. Emma will be a lawyer. I'll be working in financial fraud investigation, using what I learned from our family's pain to help other families avoid the same fate. Sometimes I wonder if Dad thinks about us in his cell, if he regrets not just getting caught, but the choices that led him there. Does he remember teaching me to ride a bike, to throw a baseball, to always do the right thing even when it's hard? Does he realize the irony that his own lessons are what gave me the strength to stop him? I'll never know, because I'll never ask. Some relationships aren't worth salvaging, some betrayals can't be forgiven, and some fathers forfeit the right to call themselves dad. But here's what I learned through all of this, and what I want anyone watching who might be going through something similar to understand. You are not responsible for keeping someone else's secrets when those secrets are destroying innocent people. Family loyalty doesn't mean enabling abuse, financial or otherwise. And sometimes the most loving thing you can do is refuse to let someone continue hurting the people you care about, even if that someone is your own father. If you're seeing red flags in your own family, financial secrecy, emotional manipulation, gaslighting about money or assets, trust your instincts. Document everything. Get professional help. Don't wait until it's too late like we almost did. And remember, the person who reveals the truth isn't the one who destroyed the family. The person who committed the betrayal is. My name is Brandon Reeves. I'm 20 now, and I know exactly what becoming an adult means. It means protecting the people you love, standing up for what's right, even when it costs you everything, and understanding that sometimes the greatest act of love is refusing to let someone continue living a lie. Dad taught me that, just not in the way he intended. Looking back, finding that phone wasn't an accident. It was the universe giving me a chance to be the man Dad pretended to be. Honest, protective, loyal to the people who deserved it. I took that chance, and despite everything we lost, everything we went through, I'd do it again in a heartbeat, because that's what real men do. They protect their families, even from the threats that come from within. Mom keeps a photo on the mantle now. Just her, Emma, and me at Emma's high school graduation last year. We're all genuinely smiling, not performing happiness for someone else's benefit. It's smaller than the old family photos that used to line our walls, but it's real. And after everything we've been through, real is all that matters. The house is quieter now, but it's a good quiet, peaceful, not tense with secrets. Mom sings in the shower again, something she hadn't done in years. Emma brings friends over without worrying about Dad's moods. I can work on homework without listening for signs of another fight about money. We're not just surviving, we're thriving, building something new and better from the ashes of what we thought we had. And if Dad ever watches this from prison, they do have limited internet access, I'm told, I want him to know this. We're okay. More than okay. We're free. Free from lies, free from manipulation, free from the constant anxiety of living with someone capable of such calculated betrayal. Your plan failed not because I found your phone, but because you underestimated the strength of the family you tried to destroy. Mom's strength, Emma's resilience, and yeah, even my determination to do what you always preached but never practiced, the right thing. And this isn't a story about revenge or even justice, really. It's about survival. About choosing truth over comfortable lies, about learning that sometimes the people who are supposed to protect you are the ones you need protection from. It's about understanding that family isn't just DNA, but the choice to put each other's well-being first, something Dad never understood despite all his talk about family values. To anyone out there living with family financial abuse, gaslighting, or betrayal, know this: you deserve better. Your instincts are probably right. That uncomfortable feeling in your gut when things don't add up, listen to it. And when you find the evidence, not if, but when, because the truth always comes out eventually, don't let anyone make you feel guilty for protecting yourself and the people you love. End it.